on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Charlotte Hornets game reaction. It feels good, ladies and gentlemen, to finally have a game under your control for the majority of the time and walking away with a pretty convincing win against a fairly decent opposition. Obviously, Charlotte are not at their best at the moment, but you got to take advantage of these games, and the Chicago Bulls definitely did that. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game? Your overall thoughts and opinions, as well as the importance of a win against the Charlotte Hornets. We won this game 121-109, and again, throughout the course of the entire games that we've played, some of the games that we've won, obviously some of the games that we've lost, some convincing losses, some close losses, everything you could put under the umbrella for the Chicago Bulls. The biggest thing about this game was that our defense was so much better today than I've seen over the past few weeks. Probably since Lonzo and Caruso were both out due to injury. That was our best defensive performance. And we conceded 109 points. Maybe many people might not find that incredibly great for the Chicago Bulls, but for the majority, it took them a lot of shots to get to those 109 points. Their efficiency was not great from the three-point line, from the paint, all the way through. And we had the dominance over this game because we always knew we were going to have the offensive players to score points. When you still have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic playing in this game, but all of them are playing very, very well for you, you're going to score points. Scoring points was never our issue. Of course, isolation could be an issue, but in terms of actually scoring points, not an issue for the Chicago Bulls. But defensively, that is where the biggest weaknesses and our issues lied for the Chicago Bulls. And we walked away with this game very convincingly, a great defensive effort for this team. And it should be well accomplished, well proud of, and hopefully this is the mentality they can have going forward into future games. If we play and keep that physicality, that defensive display up throughout the rest of the, I guess, until the All-Star break or until we get Lonzo and Caruso back, we will win a lot more games than we lose. But it comes down to how many times can we put that defensive display up. And that's something we're going to have to wait and see about. But it's a good start, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to start from somewhere. Maybe this game can be the stepping stone towards a very good Chicago Bulls defense once again. Let's hope that could be the case. I really did like how our big three played, and I liked the ball movement a lot more compared to the Phoenix Suns game. The Phoenix Suns game was one of the worst passing displays for the Chicago Bulls that I have ever really seen. I've never seen a quarter where we got 0 assists on a team. I think that's very, very poor. And it goes to show in that performance against the Phoenix Suns. In this game, the ball moved a lot better. There were some really nice fancy passes, stuff like a Javonte Green dive to the floor. DeMar DeRozan, I think it was, trying to alley-oop it to Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, knowing he's not going to get the dunk, dishes it out mid-air to Javonte Green for a nice layup. Great ball movement, highlight plays, fantastic movement of the ball. And I think our assist numbers all the way through just showed how incredible our passing was. And when we pass the ball, we more often win games than we lose. When we have more than those 20 assist nights for the Chicago Bulls, we are a deadly team to play against, and we're very hard to stop. This game also reminded me a little bit of the last time we versed the Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, that was a little bit of a closer game, but in the fourth quarter, we kind of flew away. I felt like in the second half, we definitely flew away as well. Some of these guys that you don't expect to step up, stepped up off of our bench for the Chicago Bulls as well. The bench scoring was a lot better. And I'm not talking about the number of the points. I'm talking about how the points were distributed. And for example, Kobe White started for the Chicago Bulls today. So we're not going to see bench scoring from Kobe White because he was a starter. With Kobe White on the bench, he can score those 18 points all by himself. He can score those 15 points all by himself. But in the process, you see guys like Troy Brown Jr. only get around 2 points. You see Tony Bradley not take a shot. You see Matt Thomas not making any shots. You see, obviously, Malcolm Hill barely get any playing time, and he doesn't get any shots as well. So Kobe White started today, and the bench scoring was much more distributed evenly for the Chicago Bulls, which helped in a big way as well. But with that being said, let's go into the individual performances. Let's start off with the starters, and then we'll move to the bench, and I'll talk all about it. First things first with Zach LaVine. He had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists for the Chicago Bulls today. A little bit of sloppy defense from Zach LaVine. There were a couple of instances where we could clearly see that. Obviously, the Kelly Oubre posterizer on Vucevic. That was Zach LaVine's fault. I know Vucevic ends up getting pretty much put on a poster, and he'll be on the highlight reels for the Charlotte Hornets for quite some time. But that was definitely Zach LaVine's fault. You got to stick in front of your man, and that's something that was probably a big weakness in the defensive end. Again, our defense was strong, but if you want to target a weakness, it's allowing those forwards and guards to just waltz into the paint, and we have to rely on Vucevic to kind of bail us out a little bit. And Vucevic played a good defensive game, but if Lonzo and Caruso were here, those guards do not walk into the paint as easily as they did. And we'll talk a little bit about Kobe White's defense as well, because I thought he had a good game defensively. But yeah, Zach LaVine defensively probably needs a little bit of work. Offensively, 8 from 18 from the field today, 5 from 10 from the three-point line. Didn't really force anything up probably until the second half of the game. But yeah, it was a decent game for Zach LaVine. I really enjoyed what he could do. I liked that he was still trying to find players, and he did end up playing a little bit of unselfish basketball, getting assists to guys like Javonte Green and stuff of that nature. And let's just see if Zach LaVine can keep it up for the next game. Hopefully the efficiency overall will improve, but it's a good game from Zach LaVine in my opinion. Kobe White had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists with a block in today's game. Now, second half defense from Kobe White, you could probably question, but in the first half, I thought he's our best defender in the first half. LaMelo Ball, obviously, I think he had a 33 and 8 assist performance, but in the first half, his efficiency was so poor for the Charlotte Hornets. It almost felt like he was hurting them more than he was helping them. That may have changed in the second half. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. LaMelo Ball is an all-star at the end of the day. Congratulations to him. But Kobe White, I thought, did a very good job in the first half trying to stop players like LaMelo Ball and even Terry Rozier, guys of that nature. And I think he did a good job. Scoring wise, again, I think he could do a lot better in terms of scoring. 6 from 14 from the field, but 3 from 10 from the three-point line. I think he could do much better from the three-point line than that, and especially when he takes that amount of threes that he did. But overall, when the scoring's not there, he did contribute very well in other areas, and mainly the defensive end. So congratulations to Kobe White on stepping into a position that, again, another role change for Kobe White, and he still managed to have a very decent game for him. And let's see what he can do in the next game out, again against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We will need his scoring in that game as well. DeMar DeRozan had 36 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists in this game. 13 from 19 from the field, 3 from 4 from the three-point line. Stepping into his threes today, ladies and gentlemen, and again, he made 3 out of 4. He's been a very good three-point shooter for the Chicago Bulls when he takes a fair bunch of them, and he was feeling it from the three-point line today. You can't really ask much more from the 3 from DeMar DeRozan. I think it's a specialty when he's making 3 from 4 from the three-point line. But again, a very similar DeMar DeRozan performance that we all expect from him. Again, way past the halfway point of the season now, we know what DeMar DeRozan is going to do for us, and this is just another game reflecting that. He's had a very good 2 weeks in terms of scoring the ball. He's averaging close to 30, if not over 30 points over the last 2 weeks of basketball. So he should be very proud of his performances, but this one is meaningful because it comes in a win. There's a lot of empty stats that you could throw out for the Chicago Bulls, and points could be the main topic of discussion in that area. When you're contributing in a win like DeMar DeRozan did, got a lot of and ones, played a lot of really smart, intelligent offense, and getting players involved once again, it's a good night for DeMar DeRozan. And it's a special night because he walks away with a win after another fantastic performance. He got 36 points in 37 minutes of game. That's a really strong game for DeMar DeRozan. Nikola Vucevic had 18 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 blocks in today's game. And this was the biggest point, in my opinion, coming into this game, knowing that they are very short-staffed on centers. Yes, they had Mason Plumlee, but Mason Plumlee has his up and down moments, and he's definitely not going to be a threat on the offensive end in terms of scoring. Very limited is Mason Plumlee on the offensive end. He can pass the ball well, but other than that, he's kind of a liability on the offensive end. So defensively, he's fine. He's a decent center defensively, but outside of that, there's no real center that could really stop Nikola Vucevic, and that's why he got into the paint. He got his offensive rebounds and putbacks. He got into the mid-range. He did really, really strong things, and he didn't need to take a 3 to do it. big thing for Nikola Vucevic. Last game against the Phoenix Suns, he was so perimeter orientated. We all knew that he was kind of falling back into those ways where he was prior to being that pick and roll monster or being into the post and trying to do things there. He was trying to shoot threes a lot more than getting into the paint against the Phoenix Suns. And that's obviously Phoenix Suns' elite defense, putting Nikola Vucevic and forcing him out to the three. But it's also Nikola Vucevic, I guess, not really wanting to go into the paint and trying to bully his way in against really strong centers and have a lot of depth in the center position. It's not like he could just go in there against their second-hand center, because JaVale McGee is a really good defensive-minded center. So he took advantage of what was put in front of him today, and his 8 assists is amazing. That's the best part of his game for me. 15 rebounds, I expect that from Vucevic. I even expect 18 points from Vucevic every now and then, and probably most times I expect 18 points from Vucevic. But 8 assists, phenomenal team play for Nikola Vucevic, our leading assist man, and he currently deserves a really special performance like that. He is in contention for my player of the game, but we'll see what that comes down to later on. Javonte Green had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Hopefully everything's okay with his hip. Again, I think he got hip checked in terms of a pick and roll. But he looks to be just fine. And again, a really good energetic performance from Javonte Green. A really nice alley-oop catch. Got onto the floor, hustle plays. Love to see that with Javonte Green, and we come to expect that from him now. A really solid play, really solid player, and a really solid play for today's game. Moving into the bench, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with Troy Brown Jr., who had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. And this was probably one of his best games of the season, to be honest, against the Charlotte Hornets. He made some contested corner threes, but that's what we need from Troy Brown Jr. Again, the most open shot on the Chicago Bulls team is going to be the corners. It's going to be the left corner, it's going to be the right corner, because the way DeMar DeRozan plays, the way that Zach LaVine plays, when they're having the ball or they're isolating or they're going on a pick and roll, we usually come and attack from the middle. So everybody's focused on the middle. Either they're playing a zone or they're trying to double team, but the main focus is the middle of the floor. Not very rarely are you going to see DeMar DeRozan operate in an isolation play from the corners. That's where he goes into his post game. But from an isolation standpoint and from a pick and roll standpoint, it's always in the middle. So those corners for Javonte Green, for Troy Brown Jr., for Derrick Jones Jr. when he comes back, for Patrick Williams when he comes back as well, the corner 3 will be open about 90% of the time for the Bulls if they want to use it. And that is when you see players like Troy Brown Jr. have the great games, because he knocks them down when we need them the most. And there were some contested threes that he knocked down today, and he was fantastic. And I love to see 4 assists with Troy Brown Jr. as well. He has the capability to be an elite playmaker and passer for this team, in my opinion. He has really good dribbling for his size, and he is a team player. He likes to get open players. So that's a really good game all the way around for Troy Brown Jr. Probably one of the best of his season, in my opinion. Tony Bradley, 2 points, 1 rebound. Again, a couple of fouls on him, but he played 10 minutes today and he got 2 points and 1 rebound. Not the best game for Tony Bradley, but again, I don't think he's trusted. Neither is Tyler Cook, who got 0 minutes by the coaching staff. So until we see better from Tony Bradley, I still think that backup center position needs to be a priority. Malcolm Hill had 6 points and 2 rebounds with 1 assist and 1 block. The biggest thing about this game today was not his offense for me, it was his defense. Of course, 6 points was fantastic, and I love to see 6 points coming off of the bench for a player, especially on very good efficient shooting. 2 from 4 from the field, 50% that is, 2 from 3 from the three-point line. I like to see games like that. And then obviously you got Matt Thomas, who had a very similar game with 3 points in the game. Shot 1 from the field, took 1 shot and he made it, and that's a big shot for the Chicago Bulls. And that's the individual performances. A really strong positive game with very little to really I guess be upset about for this game, which is why I'm not going to give a must improve in today's game. The one person you could probably consider for it is Tony Bradley, but I've given enough stick on Tony Bradley. I don't feel it's necessary to keep on going into that situation. He got 10 minutes, which means he's clearly not really trusted as the small ball center or even just the backup center for this team. That's all I really need to say. I don't need to go into must improves and say, yeah, I'm going to pick this guy because he's not trusted. At the end of the day, let's just see what he can do in the next game. I don't think he was terrible today, but there's still a lot of room in that area that needs to be improved upon. And the player of the game for me, I think is going to be DeMar DeRozan. I think Vucevic was fantastic today, but DeMar DeRozan had another stellar performance. Almost, again, it's an unbelievable performance, but it's crazy how unbelievable is so expected from DeMar DeRozan these days. We could sit here and say 36, man. Wow, that's the type of game that you don't see every day. But for DeMar DeRozan, you see these games every day. And mainly because this is his team at the end of the day. He's taking the shots, he's making the plays, but his efficiency is the main reason why. If he had a 50% efficiency in this game instead of a close to 70% making almost every shot on the court, he'd probably have that 25-point performance that he's averaging at the end of the day. But no, these past few games has been extremely efficient, and therefore he's getting those 45-point games against Philly. He's getting those 30 performances against the Suns, and obviously the 36 today against the Charlotte Hornets. And the defense did not help from the Charlotte Hornets. That's the biggest issue of their game. Their defensive game has been very poor for them, and that's why they've lost 5 in a row. Obviously with their injuries as well, you can't ignore that. And obviously our Bulls injuries can't be ignored as well, so that's a big reason. But their defense didn't help, and it allowed for our big three to have a big game, including DeMar DeRozan, and he is my player of the game. The Bulls record is 34-21 right now in the Eastern Conference. Again, we would probably remain around the 4th seed. Maybe we could climb up on percentages past the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's just wait and see how that will turn out. But it's a very important win. And again, one loss could have sent us all the way down to the 5th seed or 6th seed, depending on other games. So it's a really important win for the Chicago Bulls, and it keeps us in the running for one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And again, the next game is equally as important against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a game we cannot sleep on. Minnesota are a very exciting team to watch, and they are prolific in their scoring. They have some of the best scoring in the NBA. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns is proving to be a very deadly dynamic duo, probably one of the best in the NBA at the moment. And obviously you got D'Angelo Russell, who's a really good point guard, running the show for Minnesota, and they have 4 games above 500. This is not the Minnesota Timberwolves team that was last in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference last season that we're playing against. This is a really, really much improved Minnesota team. So we have to take them seriously, and if we continue to, I guess, sleep on this kind of team, they will run all over us. We have to play at our best. This is obviously Zach LaVine's old team, so I expect him to show out against them, and I want to see the Chicago Bulls win this game. It's in a very important game to win, especially with the game after of a back-to-back. We got to win this game. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care.